everyone. 5 p.m. in upstate New York, where we've just learned the tools 2 inmates used to escape from prison may have been smuggled inside frozen meat.
Also 5 p.m. in Charleston, South Carolina, where the state's governor has asked for the Confederate flag to be brought down from the Capitol. And 5 a.m. in Beijing, where in just a few hours the stock market will open after taking a dive last Friday. Great to have you with us. You as well, Michael. Great to have you back. I'm Amra Walker. I'm back. I'm Michael Holmes. This is CNN Today. Welcome, everyone, to CNN Today. Greece is now a country teetering on the edge of default. And at this hour, negotiations in Brussels are hoping to keep the country from a possible Eurozone exit. While Greek and European leaders huddled in Belgium, the Greeks took to the streets of Athens, as you see there. They're calling for their country to remain in the Euro and are holding a firm stance at the same time against the austerity that many think is needed to keep them there. Greece needs a new deal and more money from Europe before next week. Our Tadhg Enright joins us now from London live with the latest, and great to have you with us. First of all, where do the talks stand? What needs to be done to wrap this thing up?
Well, the key development of the last 24 hours was the submission of new proposals from the Greek government. They arrived in Brussels early this morning, and everyone's pretty excited because they went an awful lot further than they've ever gone before. They, in fact, breached 2 of the red lines in the negotiations that the current Greek government said they wouldn't breach. They're talking about reforming the pension system, extending the retirement age, and increasing VAT, sales tax. Those are 2 hot topics, or were 2 hot topics for the Greek electorate. There could be some consternation back home that the new Greek administration, or relative new Greek administration, is willing to go that much further on them to achieve a deal. That's what's being discussed now at a summit of European leaders in Brussels. It's scheduled to end in the next few minutes, but when we heard from finance ministers earlier, they told us that they only had a couple of hours to consider the Greek proposals, and they're going to need more time to run the numbers, but they were confident that they were the basis for a deal, and perhaps later this week they might be able to meet again and give these this proposal the green light.
And Tadhg, you know, we've been seeing these anti-austerity protests in Greece, and we know that Alexis Tsipras and his left-wing Syriza party were brought into power on the promises of getting rid of austerity. And it doesn't look like at this point, because you're talking about concessions that Greece is making, that Alexis Tsipras and his party will be able to keep these promises. So what kind of fallout could there be if Greece moves towards a compromise?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly will be a tricky situation back home for Alexis Tsipras. The thing you have to remember about this Syriza party, it's relatively new, and it's more of a coalition of various left-wing MPs, some of which will be at the more extreme end of the spectrum and will oppose more likely to oppose concessions than perhaps more moderate left-wingers. I guess it's all down to the politics. It depends on how Alexis Tsipras spins it. He will be able to say, for example, that he's not actually, his proposals don't actually say they will cut pensions, but they will increase pension contributions. We all know politicians are well able to spin things in a way to win over their harshest critics in their home base, but that will be tricky for them.
And of course, you know, even if the deal's done, it's not the end of the thing. There's going to be a whole nother round of discussions later in the northern summer. You've got Greeks pulling their money out of the banks themselves, you know, really on life support in the eyes of many people. What is the long-term prognosis at the moment for the Greek economy in general? It needs growth to get out of this abyss.
It certainly does need growth, and it was growing again, albeit having shrunk monumentally, by more than a quarter over the last 5 years. It was growing again until all this uncertainty came up again about whether Greece would remain in the Eurozone or not. It is back in recession now. So much uncertainty out there. You mentioned the banks. There's an enormous outflow of capital from the Greek banking system. It's on a cash lifeline from the European Central Bank. They're promising to keep it afloat to prevent a run on the banks. Greece certainly needs some certainty in the here and now about what happens next, whether it is actually going to leave the Eurozone or whether it remains in the Euro. It's the uncertainty about the situation which is killing off growth.
Well, it seems like there's just a bit of hope there and some guarded optimism regarding these talks. Tadhg Enright, great having you. Thanks so much.
All right, well, investors around the world expressing some optimism over these latest developments, including in the US. Markets there closing about an hour ago, and as you can see, all three major indices up more than 0.5% to kick off the week.
Meanwhile, China's Shanghai Composite stock